The SAG Awards is one of the most prestigious film and TV award ceremonies of the year. They award the best acting of the year as voted on by actors. Today we're going to take a look at Gold Derby's first wave of odds for the ceremony to see who are the frontrunners. There are a lot of surprises and, let's just say, interesting choices. So let's get into it. Hello everybody, welcome back to Oscar Riz. Trevor here, joined by Thomas as always, and let's get into the Gold Derby SAG Awards preview. All right, so the first category we're going to be taking a look at these early odds from Gold Derby is going to be the SAG Ensemble category. So we see it's very, very close at the top between Oppenheimer and Barbie. Oppenheimer does have the advantage as of now. I'm personally leaning more towards Barbie for the win, but this top five, including Cop from Poor Things and Color Purple, I do think mixed.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these, I think that these would be the top five options, and I honestly agree with Barbie. I think it just feels like the most fun cast to sort of give this award to. It's one of the biggest casts, one of the most stacked casts. Yes, Oppenheimer also has a shoe of sort of long, big name stars, but equally, I think that film is more Cillian Murphy's. It feels like less of an ensemble than Barbie does, so that's why I would personally be leaning towards Barbie. But easily, I think these are the top two. I mean, they're the biggest cast of the year. They're probably the most fun cast to nominate. But then, yeah, as you say, you've got things like Killer of the Flower Moon. Obviously, we're looking at potentially 3 Oscar nominations for them, between them. Poor Things, we've got Emma Stone, obviously Ruffalo might get one. Willem Dafoe could even come along if it's a big picture contender. And then The Color Purple, they often like to go for musicals. That kind of just tracks as well. So yeah, I definitely agree with the top 5 for Gold.
I would watch out for potential screener issues with The Color Purple. We actually saw something like that happen with West Side Story, speaking of another musical. Because I do think that something that will be knocking on the door is The Holdovers, which is currently sitting here at number 7.
Potentially, though there is that question, is the cast too small? Obviously, we saw with Banshees last year, it did manage to get in, but equally those were sort of 3 guaranteed. Even 4, that had 4, whereas this only seems to have Giamatti, Divine Joy Randolph, and Dominic Sessa. So it might be not considered an ensemble in the same way, but equally as I think it is there. It is there alongside Air as well. Potentially big cast, big names. I don't think it has the Oscar nominations, but Viola Davis could very easily happen at SAG, and I don't know. They've gone for Ben Affleck in the past. They if they think they can, they might do that. So yeah, I would look out for it as well.
No, I guess we have to. As far as other things though, it has American Fiction and Dumb Money here as the only other non 101 things. I really don't think so.
No, especially not American Fiction. Dumb Money recently come out. We'll be doing for a review for it later, but yeah, it's a big ensemble. Just doesn't feel right. Yeah. Especially when you've got a slew of sort of Oscar contenders, Best Picture contenders in there that you could go for. So yeah.
And I really don't see anything else happening. I really do think it is just kind of a top 7 here that we're looking at. As far as things that, again, as of now, obviously things can still change, but with everything coming out of fall festivals, I feel like we have a general grasp on what the field is looking like. And I would be kind of surprised if it wasn't 5 of these top 7.
Agreed.
All right, let's get into actress now. This is going to be an interesting one. So first of all, what is Annette Bening doing so high? But
I mean, it is SAG. They do often go for big names. I think if anywhere, SAG will do Annette Bening. But yeah, it is questionable.
And then I think Emma Stone, Lily Gladstone, Carey Mulligan, those are the 3 that I feel are like locks in this category. I think they're getting in every single precursor across the board. Those are the 3 strongest in my eyes. Yeah. And then I feel good about Robbie getting in here.
Honestly, it's SAG, as I say, big names, Margot Robbie, if it's winning ensemble as well, which we're predicting, I think that makes sense. I definitely think that makes sense.
And then, I don't know if Sandra Hüller would get in. I kind of agree with Gold Derby here. I don't know if she necessarily makes sense for SAG. I think she makes sense to get Globe, Critics' Choice, BAFTA as her package, and get in over somebody like Robbie, who would be getting Globe, Critics' Choice, SAG.
Yeah, I mean, the SAG, so we don't often see necessarily the critical hits, the critical sweepers get in here. I mean, sometimes you do if they're really strong. I don't think Sandra Hüller is that sort of strong. I don't know if she's... Exactly. I don't know if they're wing competitive in the same way as some other critical sweepers like we saw last year, Colin Farrell, Kate Blanchett, whatever. They're obviously going to be signed for SAG. Things like Sandra Hüller, things like Greta Lee, I don't think are as solid. And I do think it will allow for room with things like Margot Robbie and potentially even Annette Bening as well. Although I wouldn't be predicting.
I'd be leaning
Fantasia. I think she's around. I'd be leaning Fantasia, yeah.
And in contrast with the Oscars, I think we have that lock 3 of Emma, Lily, Carey. Yep. And then you have Robbie and Fantasia that might get SAG. but then maybe Sandra and Greta are the two that can get into potentially. Regardless, I think that those are the 7. I think
I think they're the pretty clear top 7. They've established themselves. Like, yeah, you've got sort of Natalie Portman still running about, but like, I don't know. I think we've got a top 7 in actress.
Yeah, Kaylee Spaney as well.
Katie
Maybe can happen
Spaney,
here.
potentially. I feel like that's more the Critics' Choice thing, maybe.
I agree. And I really don't like, again, if it's gonna happen anywhere, Annette Bening would be here or maybe the Globes, but come on, please. Looking at actor, it's the same 5 that we have. They have Cillian, then DiCaprio, then Domingo, then Cooper, then Giamatti. This is the same 5 that's everywhere. This is the same 5 that everybody has.
Yeah.
I don't think that everybody is going to go 5 out of 5 from July. This is the same 5 that we've had since the summer. That isn't how Oscar predicting works. We don't just all get to be perfectly correct in a lead acting category for like 9 months.
No,
I would be shocked if
I am thinking one of these does slip. I think the big question for me is that anyone bar Cillian Murphy could slip. Like, I could see Bradley Cooper going. I think if I'm looking at anyone on that list, I'd go Bradley Cooper to be most likely to slip. But Coleman Domingo's not safe. Paul Giamatti's not entirely safe. Leonardo DiCaprio is that sort of thing when you could just snub him. You know, he's Leonardo DiCaprio, whatever. He's had many other nominations. And something like Jeffrey Wright could slip in. However, I do think this would be the SAG 5. I do think we're going 5 for 5 at SAG. Like, even if Jeffrey Wright is a thing at the Oscars, potentially, which we think if American Fiction's Picture or whatever, I still think I don't necessarily think he'd get in here.
And it's going to be interesting if we're thinking about this race as a whole. If we agree that, yes, Gold Derby, this is the SAG 5. Critics' Choice do 6. They're just going to do this 5 plus Jeffrey Wright. And then Golden Globes are going to do 10, and that's going to be split up. And then we'll have to see what BAFTA does. But I really do think that we're going to be waiting on nomination morning to see, did we just have the 5? Or are we actually going to see one slip? Because I don't think that SAG or Critics' Choice is going to clue us in that much.
But I think the unfortunate thing is, if you're looking at BAFTA to sort of clear up the race, I think if you're looking at that list, they're most likely to snub Coleman Domingo. I think that is pretty obvious. So doesn't bode well, but we'll see. I guess it probably won't all be down to BAFTA. But yeah, I would be surprised if SAG went 5 for 5. However, this is the 5 I'm predicting now. It just feels like a safe 5.
Yeah, it feels safe, which again, probably means it won't happen. But it feels safe. Cillian to win, I think makes sense here.
Most likely. I think he will be a fairly consensus winner all around because he can win Critics' Choice. He can definitely win BAFTA. I mean, he's British. So it's not like he's one of the people. Exactly. It's not like he's one of these people who might win at some ceremonies, might not win at others. I feel like he could just win all of them.
Right. And this is why I still have Cillian number 1 for the Oscar. Is like, he's the only one that I feel confident won't be snubbed. Like 100%. He is getting the nomination. There's 0 doubt in my mind. And he's also the only one who I could reasonably see winning across the board and sweeping. I don't think that we will see a sweep in this category, but if anyone were to do it, it would be him.
Completely good.
Okay. Or actually, here, I'll just come back in because we got to talk about the rest of the top 10. So 3, 2, 1. Outside of Jeffrey Wright, though, Joaquin Phoenix, Napoleon, Andrew Scott, Udeo, Barry Keoghan. I mean, if you look at the odds, the only people that have anything better than 100 to 1 is, the top 6. And I think that makes sense. Nobody else is getting nominated. Like, come on.
No. I mean, the only thing is if All of Us Strangers hits in a big way with just awards voters generally, that becomes an awards contender. But how much of that is wish thinking? I'm not sure. I don't see it. I think Paul Mescal is a lot more likely in supporting. I think the actor's just too stacked for anyone like Andrew Scott to build momentum, and anyone else on that list. Yeah, as you say, Joaquin Phoenix, no. Barry Keoghan, no. These things are just not happening.
Agreed. Now, supporting actress, they got Divine Joy Randolph number 1. So this is, again, Lily Gladstone moves. Nobody knows what to do here.
Yeah.
Divine winning, I could see, and I think we're kind of leaning towards this for the Oscar potentially as well.
Yeah, I think whatever wins here will win the Oscar, would be my guess. And what will win, though, that is a big question. Like, I think this is easily, in terms of stack, this is the weakest of the categories, of the acting categories. But there's just a lot of contenders who are sort of in and amongst the mix, making it a very complicated prediction.
So when I was running all my stats last year, on the supporting categories, and this is how I predicted Jamie Lee Curtis. Okay.
Yeah.
When SAG and BAFTA split, and I don't think Divine Joy Randolph is winning BAFTA, I honestly think that will be Emily Blunt.
Could be.
It goes to BAFTA unless the SAG winner is a Best Picture winner.
Best Picture, yeah, I remember the stat. Yeah. It's interesting. I don't see a world in which Emily Blunt wins the Oscar.
Okay, because Emily Blunt can win SAG. We know how much they love her. They gave her the win for A Quiet Place.
She can.
That would be weird.
Insane. Yeah, I mean, we say free acting wins isn't impossible. I don't think Robert Downey Jr. will win, but he
Yeah, we have
very
got
much could. Emily Blunt very much now could win.
Oh,
Cillian Murphy, we are predicting him to win. Oppenheimer could be another film with free acting wins, which would be insane to think about. Either way, I think Divine Joy Randus will take this one. I am
I
agreeing
think
with
that
Gold
she wins
Derby.
here.
Yeah, I think she wins it, and I'm currently leaning towards predicting her to win the Oscar. I mean, you still got Danielle Brooks there. We don't know how Color Purple will be received. Potentially, it's a really, really great film that acting wins are potentially for it. So I don't know. I'd say the other top three though.
I will say, if anybody were to win both BAFTA and SAG, I think it would be Blunt.
Yes, I agree with that.
And we also haven't talked about Daniel Brooks,
Yeah,
who very reasonably could take this.
yeah.
But yeah.
Strange. Also, Viola Davis just feels like a thing that's happening at SAG and
Yeah,
has the
regardless
entire
of the Oscar, like,
yeah. Now that Lily Glaston's out, potentially Viola Davis sneaks in at the Oscars. I always thought she
and
was going to
also,
sneak in at SAG.
even for the Oscars, you know what could happen with Viola Davis? She could be our
What?
Eddie Redmayne in The Good Nurse. She could be our Jared Leto in House of Gucci, or The
He could
Little
be.
Thing, our Bill Murray in On the Rocks. She could get
Yeah,
Golden Globe, Critics' Choice, SAG, miss the BAFTA, miss it. And I know Redmayne got the
that is very
BAFTA, but
possible.
like still, it's that same sort of trend. Or maybe she's just the lone, supporting nominee that's not in Best Picture. Like I think either way, she can satisfy one of those two trends.
Most likely.
But I think she gets in here regardless.
Yeah.
And then I think someone who's actually being very undervalued in this list is America Ferrera and Barbie. If that movie is winning SAG Ensemble like we think it is, why would America Ferrera not happen?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Here, I think there is a big chance America Ferrera makes it in. It's a very actory moment. It's very showy what she is
Yeah, her
doing.
monologue,
It's
yeah.
great. Like, I think it's worthy of an on. But it is very showy. It is a type of thing SAG usually go for. And especially as you mentioned, yeah, if Barbie is taking ensemble, it sort of tracks that she would come along with it.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as other options in this category, they're like Taraji, maybe, Julianne Moore, maybe, Penelope and Rosamund Pike, I really don't see.
Yeah, I think if Taraji is a thing, she'll be a thing everywhere, and she'll just be
Mhm.
something that comes along with it. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Even though the category is now sufficiently weakened with Lily Gladstone for someone like her to slip in, I still don't see it. I don't know why. I
Yeah.
just don't see Color Purple being a thing that gets double nominated, being a thing that gets everything it wants to get. I feel like it'll be some of the text it's wanting, some of the acting it's wanting, and it sort of slides into picture. That's a roadmap I'm predicting for
Yeah.
Color Purple at this point.
I mean, I think it could be like West Side Story, except it's not directed by Steven Spielberg, so it doesn't get director.
Yeah, pretty much.
So we'll see. We also didn't bring up Jodie Foster and Nyad.
I mean, yeah,
If it's gonna happen
same argument as
anywhere.
Annette Bening. Yeah, exactly. It's the exact same conversation. So
Yeah, but I don't know. Now to supporting actor. What is Robert De Niro doing at number one?
I don't know. This doesn't make any sense because it's not like he's the biggest name in that lineup. I'd argue, like he's just a bigger name currently these days with Ryan Gosling and Robert Downey Jr. So
Yeah,
that feels weird. I don't agree with that at all. I think Ryan Gosling will take this one, especially if Barbie is winning ensemble.
I mean, we still have Gosling taking supporting actor at the Oscars, so I don't know
Yeah.
why this wouldn't happen here again, especially if it's taking ensemble. Like usually, if a film is winning ensemble and it's nominated elsewhere, it's going to pick up at least one win. Obviously, you have things like Parasite, but that wasn't nominated in any acting categories criminally. So it would make sense that this is where Barbie gets its win if it is taking SAG ensemble.
Yeah. And I don't think Gosling will win everywhere across the series, but I think here he will definitely.
Yeah, agreed. Like I don't think he wins BAFTA, Critics' Choice.
I don't think he wins Critics' Choice. Yeah.
I think Globey can though. So
Globey can.
Like I think getting the Globe SAG could make sense, but I mean we have our four. I think.
Yes.
Sorry,
like
what is Reese Ifans doing here for Nyad?
I didn't even see him. Yeah, they're loving Nyad. So they think the SAGs would love Nyad. And
excuse me, just predict it for SAG Ensemble while you're at it. Like,
I mean, I didn't see where it was on SAG Ensemble. I'm sure it was very high, probably in the top 10. We need to check, but yes, no, that is excessive. But yeah, no, I agree. I think we've got a top four. Probably.
Yeah, it's quadruple R: Robert, Ryan, Ruffalo, and Robert.
Yeah.
And as far as that last option, I like Matt Damon here. I've talked about this in previous videos. I think he makes sense. If anybody's going to coattail from that film, it would be him. And there's typically a coattail nomination for a Best Picture winner. We have Oppenheimer win Best Picture. I think that he can coattail, and I think that he would come along, as you said, kind of with Taraji P. Henson. Like usually, it just starts to come along and happen. Look at like Barry Keoghan and Brendan Gleeson last year, right? If they happen, they just begin to happen everywhere. And I think it makes a lot of sense for it to be Matt Damon. I mean, he's showy. He has like some of the comedic moments of the film. He's screaming and yelling. Like he has his moments, and his name's Matt Damon, and he's in a Best Picture winner. Like, assuming it wins.
Yeah, I can see the argument. I also think Dominic Sessidou does make a lot of sense as a person you could nominate for the film if you're liking the
Potentially.
film. Yeah, like I don't know. I think Dominic Sessidou does just make sense as well. So I think it could be a pretty stacked category. Could be a pretty close race. Interestingly, I think only one of Matt Damon or America Ferrera will happen, and I think the one that does will go on to win SAG Ensemble. So if Oppenheimer gets that to the supporting nom that it might not
Okay,
be
but why not
expecting, I
both?
think that will go
Where's
on.
both?
I'm just not envisioning both happening. I'm not envisioning both happening because I'm not envisioning Matt Damon getting in here. So this is another reason why I'm going for
Okay.
Barbie to win Ensemble. I think it will get the surprise sports
I think
nomination.
both happens, and then
I think both happen. Okay,
yeah,
I could see that. I could see that. But I'd be going Sessa. Either
yeah.
way, clear top four. Damon's at least 6. So
Defoe's here. Are we really going to predict Willem Dafoe again? And
I feel we can't ever predict Willem Dafoe ever again
yeah,
for any role just because we've been burnt too many times.
yeah.
So yeah, no, move past that
And
one.
like Paul Mescal, All of Us Strangers would love for that to happen. Love Paul
It's not going to
Mescal.
be a SAG thing though. Like either
No.
way, Andrew Scott, Paul Mescal's not going to be SAG.
Yep. And then Coleman Domingo, Color Purple. That movie would have to be massive. But I
Yeah.
really
Plus,
want to see
again, it will feel like we had Andrew Garfield for The Eyes of Tammy Faye. Like all of his momentum
Yeah.
from that role just get pushed into lead.
push into
So
Six
that feels
Women.
like
I think
that's
the
what's
same
going to
thing will happen
happen
with
for
Rustin.
Domingo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. But those are our thoughts in a bit of a preview on the SAG Awards based off of Gold Derby. We will be doing full predictions for nominations probably around like December in that
A
area.
lot would have changed before
Yeah,
then,
yeah.
though, I'm sure.
Right before nominations is when we'll actually do our predictions. And we'll also be having a preview of the Golden Globes based off of the Gold Derby odds coming out within the next couple of days. And then updated Oscar predictions after we take an early look at a couple of the precursors. We will go back to the Oscars drawing board. And try to figure out post-fall festivals and post all of this new information that
A
we've
lot's
acquired,
changed.
all of the category
changed.
changes, everything, and take a look at where we currently stand with that. So you can look at some of our upcoming videos on the side of the screen right now. But until next time, the WJ strikes, supposedly they reached an agreement, but SAG is still on strike. You can support them. There are still links to support these strikes in the description. Plus, you can follow us on social media if that is something you are interested in. But until next time, thank you everybody for watching. Stay safe and goodbye.